After we have a conditioned breached or filled DEM, we have to calculate the flow pointers and the flow accumulation on our path to create a watershed. And we'll go through how to do that in QGIS here. So if we use the Whitebox tools, in the processing toolbox, we have the Whitebox tools, again in the hydrologic analysis, and we'll use the D8 flow pointer. Now the discussions in the textbook GIS Fundamentals describe the differences between the various kinds of pointers we can calculate, but this is the most common and the simplest, although maybe perhaps they're not most useful or accurate, but it's the one that's most commonly used, and it's a good example. So we have our input DEM, or breach DEM, and we'll save our flow pointer to a file here. I'll call it just my flow direction, my FD. It's another alternative to flow pointer. And I'll go ahead and run it then. And it's fairly quick, and it loads this sort of facety looking thing that gives you the direction of flow, and so you can sort of see the north or south or northwest or southeast, and it gives you a pseudo rendition of the hill shape. So flow direction is pretty straightforward. Then we can do the flow accumulation. Now notice I have the D8 flow pointer and I have the D8 flow accumulation. I wouldn't want to use the D8 flow pointer with one of the other, like the FD8 flow accumulation. Those are different kinds. And you have to do the reading of the documentation to see which are paired. In this case, it's this name indicates that this is the flow pointer that corresponds to the flow accumulation. So I'll double left click. Now I'll make sure that I use my flow direction, my flow pointer that I calculated as the input. And I have to make sure that I indicate the input is a flow pointer. I could actually just use the DEM and it'll take that as input and calculate both the flow direction and the flow accumulation, but I want to do the processes transparently here in all the steps while you're learning. And I'll save this to an FAC file, so I know that's my flow accumulation file, and I'll go ahead and run that. And again, it gives me this flow accumulation. I look, it's from 1 to 1.6 million. That's how many cells. Most of the cells just drain into one other cell or two other cells. That's the most common things. These generally low numbers. There's very few cells that drain a large area.